Fig and I are going to demonstrate request approach training. So request approach training is my animal giving me a start button to say, yes, they're okay with a helper moving towards them. They also have the opportunity to say, no, they are uncomfortable. If you need to teach your animal a start button, you can review the video on how to do that. So Fig's start button here is being on his stool. So when he's on his stool, that's him saying, yes, he's comfortable. And if he were to get off of his stool, that would be him saying, no, please stop. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have my helper stationary, and I'm just going to start showing Fig what this process is going to look like. So if he gets onto his stool, I'm going to click and then feed him off of his stool. Eventually, him getting onto the stool means he wants the helper to move. When I click, my helper is going to stop and turn around, and I'm going to feed Fig off of the stool so that he has the opportunity to then come back on to say, I'm now okay with the helper moving again. So we're just starting that process with everything set up, but no movement from the helper, just to make sure that Fig is fluent and understands the procedure, which he's showing that he does. So now what I'm going to do is when he gets onto the stool, we're going to have our helper just move along this way from him so that she's not actually approaching yet. So I just want to show Fig that being on the stool means that my helper will move. I'm then going to click when she moves. I'm going to feed him off of the stool, and then she's going to return to her starting position. So I'm going to wait for the same thing to happen. So once he offers his start button, my helper's going to move. I'm then going to click and feed Fig off of the stool. So we're going to do that one more time just so that he sees that he's moving the helper with his start button. He's just got to check out a couple treats first. So as my helper moves, I mark and reinforce off of the station. All right, so now that Fig understands that being on the stool moves the helper, now the helper is going to approach us, and we're going to go through the exact same thing, but she's getting closer this time. Now, as you can see, I have cones set up. These cones are making it very clear for both my helper and my learner where she's going to start and where she's going to stop. That way he has information. He understands that she's not going to go further than that cone. So the cones or any sort of targets just helps provide clarity for everyone involved. So Fig is very quickly getting on and offering his start button. So he's telling us by doing that that he's very comfortable and he enjoys having the helper approach, because that means he gets a treat. And so as your learner shows that they're comfortable, you can start having the helper approach closer and closer. Once again, I'm using the cone so that there's clarity for both my helper and my learner. But Fig, by offering his start button, is telling me that he's okay with her approaching this close. If at any point Fig were to get off of the stool as she were approaching, my helper would stop and turn around. I would still feed Fig, but that would be information to me that he does not want the helper to approach. So being on the stool is a green light. I want the helper to approach. Getting off of the stool is a red light saying I want the helper to stop and move away. So this is how we teach request approach training with our cats.